guys! Today I'm going to be talking about my axolotl story. When I first got my axolotls, I got 3. They were supposed to be wild types, but they were so tiny they still had rice legs, and you couldn't tell really what they were. It can be tough to distinguish between wild type and black melanoid when they're very tiny, but a good hint for the wild types would be their golden eyes and iridescent iridophores. Long story short, we ended up with 2 wild-type axolotls, and the Worm Lord blessed us with 1 black melanoid axolotl. My black mel is named Slayer. He is beautiful. The other 2 are Sabbath and Behemoth, both equally as beautiful. Anywho, so they were housed together as babies, and then when they got bigger, we ended up having to separate Slayer from Sabbath, because she was intimidating him out of eating, it seemed. Fast forward to them reaching sexual maturity, and I now had to separate my 2 wild types because one was male and one was female. So, what happened next, you ask? Babies! Yes, babies, axolotl babies. They broke down the barrier and conceived 300 eggs. Yep, 300 eggs.
I did that.
So I moved Miss Sabbath into her own separate tub, and I reintroduced Slayer and Behemoth. It's recommended that you don't attempt to breed your axolotls before they are 18 months of age and fully grown. So I wasn't entirely sure how this first batch of eggs was going to do. Regardless of that, I had to do something with the eggs. So I put up a few ads on my local pet and aquarium groups, found homes for roughly 270 eggs, and kept 33 to myself. So me, you now have 33 growing embryos in a tub in your room, and how am I to feed you? Well, naturally, I took 2 water bottles, a lamp, an air pump, airline tubing, aquarium salt, brine shrimp eggs, and bam, 24 hours later, brine shrimp. So yeah, that did not come naturally to me. The whole process of growing my little voracious water puppies has been a big learning curve, one in which I thoroughly enjoyed, but proved to be notably time-consuming, because little did I know I would be living and breathing axolotl for many months to come after they hatched. Who am I kidding? I loved it. So, they started out in a tub together, but as the week went on, our first week together, I decided to separate them into their own little individual tubs. This would later aid me in things like monitoring each individual axolotl, like who ate the most to who ate the least during feedings. Also, without them together scattering around and scaring each other all over the place, I could physically label and individually monitor each axolotl. That way, if one became ill, I would sooner recognize the illness, and it would already be separated from the other axolotls and hopefully not contaminate their water as well. Another reason for keeping them separated would be that they react to movement, hence the live food, and the younger they are, the more likely they are to nip at and potentially injure one another. Anywho, besides the obvious highlights of being able to monitor health and behavior of each of my babies, I was getting to witness their growing personalities, from vicious to timid to just a little bit extra. I mean, stare at you every moment you're in front of their tub because you bear the worm's Worm Lord extra. Some of my axolotls grew really fast, like this beautiful black melanoid. Some of them grew a little special, like this guy who I inadvertently named Nemo because of his special small gills. And some of them grew a little slower. One barely grew at all. I called him Nugget. He was very beautiful. We joked that he put all of his effort into growing his big, beautiful gills. Unfortunately, Nugget wasn't eating enough to be as strong as he needed to be, and one morning, he was just gone. The hardest part about raising the axolotls was knowing that a few might not be strong enough to make it. But that was something I had prepared myself for going into raising the axolotls. It helps to know that I did the best that I could for them, and I learned a lot in the process too. I successfully raised 32 happy, healthy axolotls, and to me, that's perfect. Because they were separated into unfiltered tubs, I had to do 100% water changes every day. I also hand scrubbed each tub every day as well. Once they were big enough, I incorporated hand-feeding bloodworms into their diet. I did this by feeding them their regular diet of brine shrimp, and then wiggling a little bit of bloodworms in front of their face. They caught on pretty quickly from the movement, and were soon fully on bloodworms.
Wait. You didn't keep all of those axolotls, did you?
No. I put up ads and I found happy, loving homes for them. One woman got one of every color variation I had. It made me so happy to watch them go to loving homes. Overall, raising axolotls from eggs was an amazing experience. One I might try again someday, but not for a while, that's for sure. So thanks for watching, guys. It's been a crazy, fun, beautiful experience, and I'm just so excited that I get to share it with you. Stay tuned to see who I kept.